In this video, I'm going to quickly run through setting up GA4 as an e-commerce business, linking it to Google Ads and using it to import a really powerful custom audience to your Google Ads account. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to assume that you've set up Google Analytics. If you haven't, go search for Google Analytics on Google and follow the steps. It's really easy to set up. You'll have to verify your business, do a couple of basic things like that, and link it to Shopify. It's all really straightforward. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do is to connect it to Google Ads itself so that you can interchange, you can use imported conversion actions, you can import GA4 audiences into Google Ads, and those two platforms can speak to each other really, really easily. So basically, there's a whole host of ways that you can do this. You can do it via Google Ads, you can do it within Shopify, you can also do it via Google Analytics, and that final way is the way that I am going to show you today. So if you're inside in Google Analytics, click on admin down here. You're then going to want to click through property settings, product links, and Google Ads links. With Google Ads links, then you are going to search up here for your ad account ID. Your ad account ID inside in Google Ads is going to be up on the top toolbar. It's going to consist of just numbers. So type in that number in here, click link, and then you'll be able to connect your Google Ads account with Google Analytics. When you click through link, you'll be met with a few things. So enable personalized advertising, auto tagging, allow access, everything like that. It will show you the ad account number and the ad account name. And then all you'll have to do is just click submit and you will be connected. Something that's really important to consider is that when you connect Google Analytics with Google Ads, you're going to import a few things. And the main thing that you're going to import are conversion actions. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you go to conversion actions in Google Ads, once you've connected Google Analytics, you'll see that you'll have imported conversion actions like a GA4 purchase. Now, this in isolation is not a bad thing, but you have to be really, really careful with what you do about it. Chances are, if you're running Google Ads already, you will have set up a purchase conversion action. So that may either be directly through Google Tag Manager, you might have used a third-party tool, or you might have connected Shopify to Google Ads using the Google and YouTube app, in which case that would have also imported a conversion action. So you already have one purchase conversion action that's firing in your Google Ads account. Brilliant. Now, when you connect GA4's purchase actions are going to be imported into Google Ads. And the issue arises when it is imported alongside an existing conversion action. So an existing purchase conversion action. So by default, it will be set to a primary conversion action, meaning that it will affect bidding, it will affect reporting. And if that's happening alongside an existing purchase action, so that means you've two purchase actions now, you're going to be double counting your conversions. So almost overnight, you'll see ROAS double, you'll see purchases double, everything like that. It'll look fantastic. But the reason for that is that you're double counting conversions. So the one thing you're going to need to do when you connect Google Analytics to Google Ads is that you're going to have to change this purchase action to a secondary action. So it's still working, it's still operating in the background. It's used for observation. It's good to have if your primary action breaks down for whatever reason. We never use the GA4 imported action as our primary. We always use an alternative method, and I'll go into that in later videos as to why. But for now, just know that you need to make sure that you're not double counting conversions. So set this to secondary. So now that you have set up GA4 and you're inside in GA4, you're maybe messing around with some reports. Everything looks very confusing. A lot of people aren't very happy about GA4. A lot of people were big fans of UA, Universal Analytics, and don't really like the changeover since GA4. Personally, I find that a lot of e-commerce brand owners don't use GA4. They don't like it. They have alternative platforms that they use, and that's completely fine. But for those that are open to it, let me show you a few reports that are quite useful, quite handy to see, quite handy to navigate around, and can give you a bit of an understanding of what's happening on your website, not just on Google Ads. So you've got user attributes reports. You can see people by country. You can see your active users in the last 15 minutes by town, by country. Gender split is obviously very useful to see. Again, a lot of this stuff you can see in your CMS, but it's still useful. And then your active users by interest. These are Google Analytics tagged interest, and then age, and again, language. So a lot of basic information here, but it's still quite useful to have. It's, I think, in a very user-friendly report. You can see in an instant a lot of key information about your typical customers, what they're looking like. Next up, you can see down here in monetization and reports, you can see your e-commerce purchases. Just blocked out some actual products here, but you can see how many times product was viewed, added to cart, purchased, and then the revenue of said products. Again, nothing that is going to revolutionize maybe how you monitor performance, nothing you can't access on other platforms, including Shopify if that is your CMS, but nonetheless, still quite useful, still useful to see it in a single place. Next up is your landing page report. This is one of the more powerful reports you can get in GA4. GA4. So you can see different landing pages. You can see the total number of sessions, the active users, new users, also your average engagement time per session, which is quite useful. You can also dig a little deeper into bounce rates. So you can see which pages are poor performers for you, particularly if they're landing pages that you're driving paid traffic to. So I do think GA4 is quite useful from a landing page perspective. The further you dig in, the more you can unearth. It's quite useful. So this would be one of the pages I would definitely recommend to take a look at if you are an e-commerce owner trying to familiarize yourself with GA4 and trying to see how useful it can be for your business. So landing pages report, really, really useful. Next up then is your channels. So you can see first user, primary channels, so direct, organic search, cross network, paid search, organic shopping, things like that. You can dig deeper into their source, into the medium. Obviously really important if you're setting up any paid media to have UTM parameters coming through so you can see exactly where your traffic is coming from. But that's the last report that I think is one of the more useful ones. There are a whole host of other reports. I've only mentioned 4 here for now. Don't want to over inundate you with too much about GA4, but these are 4 places where I would say if I was an e-commerce brand owner, I would pay attention to. I'd look at them every couple of weeks, keep an eye on them. You may have another place where you view a lot of this data. If so, that's fine. GA4 is free, quite useful. You just need to familiarize yourself with some of the navigation around the pages. But one of the big reasons I like GA4 and I like connecting it to Google Ads for e-commerce businesses is it allows us to create custom audiences really, really easily. With GA4, we'll have a lot of audiences preset. You'll have things like all your users, you'll have purchasers. So in order to see that, you're inside in your admin, looking at data display and then audiences down here. What I'm going to show you is how we go about building a new audience. And this is the most common custom audience that we create. We do create a whole host of them, but the one I like the most is a cart abandoner audience. And the reason for that obviously is that we want to remarket to these people. They've almost got over the line. They have added to carts. They've shown a clear interest in something we sell, and we want to give them a reminder of that interest, and we want to get them over the line and ultimately to commit to making a purchase. So the first thing that we're going to want to do if we want to remarket to these people is we want to set up an audience of these people. We're going to create a custom audience. The good thing about GA4 is that it allows you to create some suggested audiences. It can be useful, again, if you're not too familiar with all this and you want a small bit of guidance. Show recently active users, people who are inactive, non-purchasers, purchasers, etc. They also have predictive audiences, which are quite interesting. But for now, let's talk about cart abandoners. So for this, I'm going to set it up at a 30-day cart abandoner. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to include users when, and then this is a drop-down menu here, and add to cart will be set up already in GA4 as an event. So all I'm going to do is when they add to cart, then they're going to get added to this audience. So if you look over here, membership duration, 30 days. You'll see 4.2K people in this audience over the last 30 days. That's 15% of our total users, and that is brilliant. So that's a nice sizable audience for us to remarket to. We can see we're including 4.2K people. We're not excluding anyone. I haven't set up any exclusion filters yet, but I will be setting up an exclusion filter. And what will that be? Well, the thing is, some people will add to cart and then some people will add to cart and then make a purchase. If we want to remarket to people, we don't want to remarket to people explicitly who've already made that purchase. They don't need that nudge. We need to remarket to people who have abandoned their cart, and abandoning the cart is the important thing, not adding to cart, because people who add to cart, there will be a subsection of those who go on to make a purchase. We might want to remarket to those people immediately in that post-purchase time period, maybe trying to push an upsell or something like that in the line. But typically what we're trying to focus on here is cart abandoners. So we still have that add to cart, 30 days, so nothing has changed, 30 days over here. And then we are going to set up an exclusion, exclude users when they have purchased. So if we go over here, what we're now seeing is that same as before, we had 4.2K users who added to cart. So that's going to be the people over here that we are including. But when we go down here, we're excluding 603 people who have made a purchase that we don't want to remarket to. We don't want to include them in this audience. So now our new audience size is 3.6K, and that's fantastic. So what we're going to want to do, we're going to want to mark this as a key audience for us. That allows us to import it over into Google Ads. And then when it comes to remarketing, we're going to be able to remarket to these people. And if it's a cart abandonment strategy, well, a few things we can do. We can call out those people directly. We can say, saw you weren't ready to make a purchase. Here's a discount code, or here's free shipping. So you can call it out a bit more specific than having general remarketing. So if you're targeting all your site visitors, you can have that same level of detail in your messaging. And that's why we think cart abandonment retargeting strategies are really powerful. Not only that, and not only because of the specificity of the messaging that we're allowed to carry out with this level of detail, but also because these people have already shown a higher level of intent than people who've just visited the website and haven't added to cart. So cart abandonment strategies for remarketing, really, really powerful. We use GA4 to import that particular custom audience to Google Ads so that we can carry out remarketing on Google Ads. So that's a whistle-stop tour of GA4 and Google Ads, how we use GA4 as an e-commerce Google Ads agency to import some useful conversion actions, and more importantly, to review some really important custom reports and import really valuable custom audiences to Google Ads. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you at the next one.